So we realized that we both shared a love for Christ. Philippians 3:8 being our favorite scripture. Indeed, we count everything as lost because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. So much so that we put that verse or tattooed that verse on our bodies. So both on our left arm too. And what we learned soon after that as well is I've only been in the world for 7 days without Shihong. His birthday is 1 week after mine. Same year and everything. So all that to say, Shihong is my guy. From the time I met him, he's like a brother to me. And you know, when we first moved in together, because we have lived in the same house since 2017, at first all we had was Rush Hour 2. I was Chris Tucker, he was Jackie Chan. And we would just do scenes from that movie and make videos. But of course, the relationship got much deeper. The friendship was better, and we really were able to develop a brotherhood that I'm really grateful for, and I know that will be for life. And a few months after that, that's when Shihong met a young lady that he made known very quickly that he wanted to marry this girl. And by the time I met her, Rachel, AKA Rachel Rach. I've hardly ever called her Rachel. It's just always been that nickname, Rachel Rach. And reason being is because I liked her from the very start. I was like, she is the one. Shihong has got to pull this off. I actually been praying for him that he would. So today it was my joy to see him rise and to see this union happen. But I just want to say I'm so grateful for your guys' friendship. It is such a blessing to know you both and to have followed Jesus together with you. My prayers are always with you. I really hope you're able to plant Berkeley Bible Church one day. I will come, I will preach, I will support whatever you need. Can't wait for if the Lord wills, you guys have a family. I just can't wait to live life together and to follow Christ together. So, to Shihong and Rachel.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming to celebrate the union of Rachel and Shihong. For those of you who I have not met yet, my name is Leanna. I am Rachel's favorite and only sister, and thus she was obligated to make me her matron of honor. And yes, I stole that joke that Rachel made from my wedding, but I'm convinced that she let me get married first so that she didn't have to sound really old like a matron, right? So, thank you all for being here, family and friends from all walks of life. It means so much to me, all of your prayers and how you've walked alongside of her all these years as her older sister. So, as you can imagine, in a household of 3 women, my mom, Rachel, and myself, is typically a household of many emotions, and ours is no different. Rachel and I express our emotions in a variety of ways. When we watch this sappy movie called A Dog's Purpose, a movie when a dog is reincarnated multiple times so it can just love its human family more, our emotions come out in torrential tears. When we see cute floofy dogs just on the street, our joy is expressed in the form of us going and wagging our butts like tails, right? And when my sister and I are reunited after being apart, some of our happiest times, we channel our excitement by pretending to be our imaginary dog friends named Cow, Patches, Arfie Butt, and Phoebe. Woo! And we scratch each other's bellies and roll around on the ground with our tongues out. And now that I say that, it sounds really, really weird. But I guess most of our emotions just come out in the form of dog imitation. So while my emotions kind of stop in the form of dog imitation, Rachel's goes further. Her emotions and her warm, caring heart are expressed in passion in everything that she does. I got hints of Rachel's passion even when she was a young child. As you can see, young Rachel is very passionate about dogs, and she still is. So you can ask her any question about how many puppies are in a corgi litter or what types of tricks a German Shepherd can do, and she'll rattle off the right answer right off the bat. She once made a PowerPoint presentation for my parents called 10 reasons why I should have a Jack Russell Terrier. Unfortunately, my parents never yielded to her request, so she was stuck playing dog with me. In middle and high school, Rachel was passionate about crafting and sewing. She sewed all of her Halloween costumes from when she was a little kid, including a Totoro one with a cute little hat. She, in middle school, made and sold colorful Hello Kitty duct tape wallets to all of her friends. Some of you might have received them. In high school, she basically monopolized Lynbrook High School's annual fashion show for all 4 years that she was there with her plethora of sewing creations down the runway. I was thoroughly impressed, and she definitely got all the creative genes in this family. Like, look at what she made tonight. It's beautiful. Rachel then directed her passion into art. She threw herself into preparing her art portfolio, for which I endured an afternoon of her stringing my hair by wires onto a ceiling to say some type of commentary about social media. You're welcome, Rachel. Her art pieces always contain some deeper meaning about life or society, or most of all, her faith. This is evident in all of her lettering and design work, in which she channels all of her musings about life and spiritual lessons into something beautiful. In college, Rachel threw so much passion, energy, and dedication into her Christian fellowship, Grace on Campus. Now, don't get me wrong, I love GOC, but there are definitely times when I was like, Rachel, do you really have to go to 5 GOC events a week when you also have classes and like your art projects and internship on the side? But her dedication shows where her love and her passion lie, which is serving God and his people. She is genuine in her love for God and care for his church, and I am sure that many of you here can attest and are thankful for her ministry there. Page 2. BB, even though I will always think of you as my 5-year-old baby sister, I'm so impressed with how you have grown and matured to be the woman you are today. You are so responsible and capable. I mean, in the past 2 months alone, you completed your senior design project, planned like all of senior banquet, did all the decoration for my wedding, made this event, and you did so with so much grace and poise. I admire how you logically consider your emotions and make decisions in a way that honors God. I feel so cared for when you take the time to check up on me and ask me intentional questions about my life. And I felt unconditionally loved by your continual patience and grace with me when I'm bossy, stubborn, or distracted. So I count myself lucky to be your sister, and I love you dearly. And although I cried when you told me that you're planning on staying in LA, and I cried again last week when you moved out of Mom's and Dad's house for the last time, and I cried again when I realized that you're actually getting married today, I'm looking forward to the many more coffee dates, dog jokes, and sisterly moments to come in this stage of life. Now, Shihong. Let's be honest, I was a bit apprehensive when my sister told me that she was dating a seminary guy from GOC. My first thoughts, who is this old dude who's swooping up my baby? I guess we learned, Rachel, that you were old too. But when I finally met you, my first impressions were as follows. Loud, tall, goofy, says strong all the time, which I did not know what that meant. Tight pants. And may I say loud again, my ears are still ringing from karaoke last night. If y'all have not seen the videos yet, just check on the Instagram. They're hilarious. Though I had my hesitations at first, I eventually came to see that Rachel loved you a lot. And I realized that, like Rachel, Although expressed in a different way, Shihong is also a very passionate person. First of all, I can't really think of anyone who's more enthusiastic or as bombastic as Shihong. And this is evident in the way that he greets people with a huge, goofy smile and a huge, big hug. It's evident in his love for video games and energy in board games, to the point when I've actually told him, you have to be quieter, it's just too loud. And it's evident in his interest in coffee and latte art, which, by the way, has greatly improved in the year that I have known you. But most of all, Shihong is passionate in his love for God. So what makes Rachel's and Shihong's passions significant and better together? As you saw earlier, in everything that Rachel is passionate about, she pours her whole heart into and causes the object of her passion to be nurtured, strengthened, uplifted, and beautiful. Shihong, because of who Rachel is, she will infuse your life with creativity, thoughtfulness, and quiet strength. When you are burnt out from a day of ministry, she will fully focus on serving you and helping you rest. When you are excited, she will do all she can to make those exciting times even more memorable and meaningful. When you are deep in contemplation, Rachel will direct all her ability to patiently listen and think about the most thoughtful questions to ask you. In everything that Shihong is passionate about, he fully commits to and brings enthusiasm, inspiration, and energy. Rachel, when you are feeling that life is routine, Shihong will cause you to laugh and brighten up your day. When you are discouraged, Shihong will carry you with his energy and help remind you of the true reason and inspiration for the things that you do. Most importantly, your passions are aligned, that is, in your devotion to the Lord Jesus Christ and your love for his church. And I am confident that you will serve God and his church in a full, beautiful, energetic, and genuine way, because that's the type of couple that you are. It will be a joy to watch you two run the race together in such a way that you might receive the prize. So let us all raise our glasses and give a toast to Rachel and Shihong. I love both of you so much, and we wish you a wonderful, enriching, and God-centered and passionate marriage. Thank you. Cheers to you. Oh, I need to.
I have some friends here. They came from Sacramento and the Bay Area. As Shihong's father, his mother and I would like to say thank you. Thank you for joining us on this special day of celebrating the union of Rachel and Shihong. The old saying, time flies, is so true. It's like yesterday when Shihong was born in a hospital in Beijing, China. I remember how full my heart became as you grow for 9 exciting months, and how we eagerly pushed through those final hours until you finally made your grand appearance. I remember that I gave you last kiss and gave you back to your mother in Beijing when I was leaving for the United States. You were only 7 months old. And I remember I picked you up at the JFK airport in New York 2 years later. I remember I drove you to daycare centers and schools in Connecticut, Indiana, and California. I also remember I tried to let you get interested in all kinds of sports. Obviously, I failed. I remember how you joined Boy Scouts and how you finally became an Eagle Scout. I'm so proud. I remember how your mother pushed you to practice piano. Actually, you're pretty good. I remember we went to the UCSD for your first day of college. I remember your graduation days, all those days for elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. So many memories came up in my head in this special day. I cannot mention them all in this time-limited speech. One special memory that I must mention, however, is that when Shihong told me that he decided to go to seminary school a few years ago, I asked him how you will support yourself. His reply is, God will provide. It's been 3 years since then. Let's look back. Shihong has already finished 2 years without much trouble. He has only 1 more year to go. God really provides all living necessities. That's not all. He even provides Shihong with a beautiful and smart wife. That is amazing, isn't it? And how big Shihong's faith to God is. Today is a special day when the marriage for Shihong and Rachel starts. This marriage marks a new beginning, a new journey for them. We cannot say thank you enough, Rachel, for coming into my son's life and for giving him so much joy, love, and happiness. And also thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Tu, for raising such a wonderful daughter. People may ask me what advice I can give to the newlyweds as a father. I would say the secret of happy marriage is follow God's words and live together for God's glory. Today, we witnessed the commitment Rachel and Shihong made to each other. Today, you two begin a new journey together, filled with love and joy. It's official. You are family now. From this point forward, you will be inseparable. You are not just living side by side. Now you will be living as a team, one team, a unit that will make important decisions and make important decisions and meaningful memories together. Please join us in raising a toast to our son Shihong and our daughter-in-law Rachel, wishing them a life of happiness and love. Thank you very much. Thank you. I love your son. You did good. You did good.
Thank you. That was a beautiful speech.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhu. Yes, it truly is amazing that Shihong has found a beautiful and smart wife. Next, I'd like to invite Rachel's father, Mr. Tu, to give his speech.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for coming to join us on the celebration of love. As Charlene just introduced briefly his family, I would like the opportunity to introduce Rachel's side of the family. We have the Tu clan. I'm not going to introduce you individually, just I invite the Tu clan to please stand up and just let us recognize you. They're mostly down here in Southern California. We're the only displaced two. And then the side of Carlene's family, the Tong family, come from all over the country, from New York, from New Jersey, from Idaho, from SoCal, from NorCal. And if I named all of them, we would still be here at about 10 p.m. So I would invite the Tong clan to please stand and allow us to recognize you. See, I wasn't kidding, like half of this room over here. And there is one more relative I would like to remember, and that's my father. I wish he were here. He died 2 years ago. He would have been 100 years old this year, and he would have been so happy to be here. Well, it's been quite an exciting year for the Two family, as you may imagine. I have 2 daughters with 2 proposals, 2 engagement parties, followed by 2 bridal showers, followed by 2 rehearsal dinners, and followed by 2 wonderful, God-honoring weddings, all in 2 months. And now I have 2 new sons, and I've got 2 Father of the Bride speeches. But wait, there's more. Rachel, you are 22 years old. 2 months after graduating from UCLA now, you are married to the man you love. Mommy and I are just too overjoyed that God has brought you to, wait for it, together. Thank you. I'm here all weekend. Don't forget to tip the servers. Can you tell 2 is my favorite number? Go figure. Well, now that, Rachel, you are 2 to Zoo, hopefully you won't hear any more 2 jokes. Shihong, my man. You know, when Rachel told us that about you, he showed us photos of you. Oh, Tiffany's saying, oh my gosh. Well, you know, I thought, who is this tall barista seminary student who wants to date my baby daughter? And by the way, what is it with this big, wild, crazy hair anyway? Well, over the year, we have had many serious conversations. We shared coffee, we shared meals, we shared days together, and I've gotten to know you a lot better. And I find there's a lot more to that big, crazy hair. You're also loud. But we love you. We've gotten to know your heart, a heart that loves Rachel, and importantly, a heart that loves God, and your whole desire is to serve and honor him with everything you do. And you know what? That gives me confidence that you will care for Rachel and in a Christ-centered marriage. And that gives a dad great, great peace as I put her hand into your hand earlier today. Welcome. And Rachel, I love you so much. We're going to get through this. I'm not sure I'm going to get through this. So, you know, the first time I saw you, I laid eyes on you, I was gone. You had me wrapped around your little finger from when you were a baby. And even now, I stand here, so many memories of those special moments that I had shared with my daughter, father and daughter, come flooding back to me. I don't even know what to say. Words cannot describe the love and the emotions that are welling up inside of me, in addition to the tears. So I do want to share with you as a present and with everyone here some of the special moments that I chronicle in our life. And I'm going to do that with adapting a children's story written by Robert Munsch. This is a story that I've read to Rachel many times when she was a little girl. So here goes. A man held his newborn baby girl in his arms. He looked at her. She had a head full of thick black hair and really cute little wiggly nose. It was love at first sight. He loved to hold her, and he would rock her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And as he rocked her, he would sing her this song. I love you forever. I love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Well, that little baby grew. She grew and she grew and she grew, and she became an adorable little girl. And she giggled with glee every time Daddy came home from work. And she grabbed him and hugged herself and wrapped herself around Daddy's leg and says, "Daddy, Daddy, please come play with me." And so play they did. They played Horsey and Doggy. And they read stories about Horsey and Doggy, and they sang songs about Horsey and Doggy, and they wrote lots of pictures about Horsey and Doggy. And then they would crawl around on all fours, and they pretended to play cats and tortoise. No, Horsey and Doggy, of course. And we did other stuff. No. And they did other stuff. They also played dress up, and they pretend supermarket, and then they played Polly Pocket, pretending to go to supermarket, right? Yeah. All evening until she wore that man out. But when it was dark and she was asleep, the man would open up the door to her room, and he would crawl across the floor and look over the edge of the bed, and if that little girl was really asleep, he would pick her up and rock her back and forth and back and forth. And while he rocked her, he would sing, "I love you forever, and I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." Well, that little girl, she grew and she grew and she grew. She grew until she was a cool teenager with stylish clothes and shoes. And her house would be full of her art creations and her sewing. And when her dad came home, she would yell, "Daddy, Daddy, I need a ride. Can you drive?" So the man drove her to a football game. He drove her to church, to small group. He drove her to yearbook, Valhalla. He drove her to dance practice with the Valkyries. Drove her to fashion show. He drove her to the mall with friends, to homecoming practice, right? And to Home Depot to find material for her art projects. The father fussed over and worried about his teenager. But at night, when it was dark, he would open up the door to her room and crawl across the floor and look over the edge. And if that teenager were really asleep, he would pick her up and hold her and would rock back and forth and back and forth. And while he rocked her, he would say, "I love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." Well, that teenage, she grew, and she grew, she grew and she grew and she grew until she was a beautiful young adult. She went to college. College wasn't always easy, so often she would call home and go, "Daddy, Daddy, I need help. My hard drive just crashed. What do I do?" And Daddy, what forms do I have to fill for taxes? And oh, by the way, Daddy, my tuition is due. So the father did all he can to help her. But as he did, he realized and he observed that his girl was maturing, and she grew very wise. Her love for the Lord inspired everyone around her, and she cared for and loved so many people so deeply. She met a man who loved God and good coffee. She graduated, got married, and moved away. The father saw her less and less and missed her more and more. But when it's dark, he would get into his car and drive across town. And if the lights in the house were all dark, he would open up the bedroom window and crawl across the floor. He would look over the edge of the bed, and if her daughter and her husband were really asleep, he would pick up that great big young adult and hold her and rock her back and forth and back and forth.
What about me?
This is a children's story, Shihong. And while he rocked her, he would sing, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." Well, that man, he grew older. He grew older and older and older. His hairline receded. He couldn't hear very well. He couldn't see small print anymore. And he called his daughter and he said, "Sweetie, why don't you come over and visit me? Maybe together we can watch a Warriors game on TV." So she came over to visit. And while she was there, her father tried to sing her a song. And he sang, "I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always." But he couldn't finish. So the daughter walked over to her dad, and she picked up that big man, and she rocked him back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my daddy you'll be." That's the story. Those are the moments. Those are the moments I hope you enjoyed living through with me. Rachel, you have a husband now, someone with whom who you can hug when he comes through the door at the end of the day, somebody to play horsey and doggy with you, somebody to drive you around and put up with all the art creations in the home. You'll have someone to navigate life with, and to love and serve God with, and to create new special moments with. But remember, whenever you want, you can come back home. And you don't have to push through a window and crawl through the floor. Just come on in through the front door, and you know what? Standing there waiting for you will be Mommy and me, and we'll welcome you and Shihong with our wide open arms. Just remember, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as we're living, your daddy I'll be, and my baby you'll be. Come on, sweetie. Now, friends, I invite you to join with me. Hold up your glass. Come on, go get your glass. And actually, I do want you to toast together my lovely daughter and my new son, Shihong. And together, I want you to say two simple phrases, and it starts with, "We love you forever," okay? So, Rachel, Shihong, we love you forever, and we like you for always. Thank you. And for as long as you're living, may your love for each other and for the Lord grow deep. And may your lives and your home be filled with good friends and good coffee. Cheers.
I'm going to put this down before I hug you, otherwise I'm going to spill it.
I love you.
Oh, I was not going to cry this much.
That was fun. You made it.